Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikanta Radhakanta Namostude Tapte Kanchan Gourangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudire बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय और श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा जय
Hare Krishna, Bhajan ji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I think hello Tarun, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Sachin has gone to India for few weeks. Sachin is in India and Rinaji has gone to Pittsburgh to drop Chinu starting his medical stuff
Oh, nice.
July 1st. So yeah, I think nice. चलो अपन शुरू करते हैं. तो कल हम लोग श्लोक 10th पढ़ रहे थे of 11th chapter स्कंद 5. या तो इसमें हम लोग भरत महाराज के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं. एंड जैसा कि last few श्लोक्स we have been reading, this is the conversation between Rahūgaṇa Maharaj, who is the king there, and Rahūgaṇa Maharaj, Bharat being like Jad Bharat in this particular body. He says like भला बुरा कहते हैं जड़ भरत महाराज को, but then he replies very nicely. And then King Rahūgaṇa realizes कि, you know, he's not like Jad Bharat like that. He's a very highly realized soul. And then he asks him to, explain everything which he's saying. So that's where we are. We were reading Shlok 10th yesterday. And, here Jad Bharat Maharaj is explaining like sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, are the objects of the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Those are the Gyanendriyas objects, right? Speech, touch, movement, evacuation, and sexual intercourse are the objects of the working senses. Those are the Karmendriya. Besides this, there is another conception by which one thinks. This is my body, this is my society, this is my family, this is my nation, etc. and so forth. This 11th function of the mind is called the false ego. According to some philosophers, this is the 12th function and its field of activity is the body. Body is the scope, for the false ego and the mind. Mind is one. So that's what we were reading yesterday. So let's start from Shlok 11. Anilji.
Dravya svabhashaya karma kale preka dashami namanaso vikaraha sahasrashah satasha kotishascha kshetra gyato namitho swata seyo. Physical elements, nature, the original cause, culture, destiny, and the time element are all material causes. Agitated by these material causes, the 11 functions transform into hundreds of functions, and then into thousands, and then into millions. But all these transformations do not take place automatically by mutual combination. Rather, they are under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Basically, what is being mentioned and is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is behind nature. Yeah, says Maya adakshena prakriti hai suyate se characharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagat vi parivartate. Says that this material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Yeah, this is what Lord Krishna is saying, telling to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Shlok 9.10, that everything happens under the direction of Lord Sri Krishna. Ajay?
Sure. क्षेत्रज्ञ एता मनसो विभूति जीवस्य मायारचितस्य मायारचितस्य नित्याः आविर्ता क्वापि तिरोहिताश्च शुद्धो विचष्टे आविशुद्ध कर्तुः.
Sorry, 1 second.
The individual soul bereft of Krishna consciousness has many ideas and activities created in the mind by the external energy. They have been existing from the time immemorial. Sometimes they are manifest in the wakening state and in the dream state, but during deep sleep, unconsciousness, or trance, they disappear. A person who is liberated in this life, Jivan Mukt, can see all these things vividly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. It's a very nice purport. So let's read this. Okay.
Gajan, you want me to read?
Yeah.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita 13.3, Kshetrajnanam kapi mam vidhi sarva kshetresu bharata. There are two kinds of Kshetrajna or living beings. One is the individual living being and the other is the supreme living being. The ordinary living being knows about his body to some extent, but the supreme Paramatma knows the condition of all bodies. The individual living being is localized and the supreme Paramatma is all pervading. In this shloka, the word Kshetrajna refers to an ordinary living being, not the supreme living being. This ordinary living being is of two kinds, Nitya Bada or Nitya Mukta. One is eternally conditioned and the other eternally liberated. The eternally liberated living beings are in the Vaikuntha Jagat, the spiritual world, and they never fall into the material world. Those in the material world are conditioned souls, Nitya Bada. The Nitya Badas can become liberated by controlling the mind because the cause of conditioned life is the mind. When the mind is trained and the soul is not under the mind's control, the soul can be liberated even in this material world. When it is liberated, one is called Gyan Mukta. A Jivan Mukta knows how he has become conditioned, therefore he tries to purify himself and return home, back to Godhead. The eternally conditioned soul is eternally conditioned because he is controlled by the mind. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So I think very nicely explained, first of all, the meaning of Kshetrajna in that particular shlok. So one is that the ordinary living being knows about his body to some extent, right? Like we know about our body, right? That's right. So we are the Kshetrajna for that. But what is being mentioned is the Supreme Paramatma knows the condition of all the bodies because he is the Kshetrajna of his scope is everyone, right? Our scope is our body, but the scope of Paramatma is all the bodies, right? So this is how the individual living being is localized and the Supreme Paramatma is all pervading. Yeah. So that's one thing which is being mentioned very nicely. The other thing is that two types of souls, right? One is Nitya Baddha and one is Nitya Mukta. And the one who are Nitya Mukta, liberated, they live in the Vaikuntha Jagat. And the one which are Nitya Baddha, like us, conditioned souls, live in the material world. Yeah, so they fall into material world. Now, but what is being mentioned, which is the most important thing for us, is that the soul can be liberated even in this material world, right? And that's why in a human being body, there's a chance that the soul can be liberated, and it can be liberated, then it will become Jivan Mukta, and that can be done by the pure devotional service, is what is being mentioned. Yeah. And with the devotional service, one can try to purify and return home back to Godhead. The eternally conditioned soul is eternally conditioned because he is controlled by the mind. So when we control the mind, get into a devotional service, then even the Jivan, but the soul can be liberated, is what is mentioned. Yeah. Anilji?
Yeah. The conditioned state and liberated state are compared to the sleeping unconscious state and the awakened state. Those who are sleeping and unconscious are eternally conditioned, but those who are awake understand that they are eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Therefore, even in this material world, they engage in Krishna service. As confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami, Yasya Hare Dasya. If one takes to Krishna's service, he is liberated, even though he appears to be a conditioned soul within the material world. Jivan Mukta Sa Uchate. In any condition, one is to be considered liberated if his only business is to serve Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If one takes to Krishna's service, he is liberated. Yeah. Even though he appears to be a conditioned soul within this material world. Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. In any condition, one is to be considered liberated if his only business is to serve Krishna. Yeah. And how do we serve Krishna? Is by devotional service. Shmaranam Kirtanam. Yeah. क्षेत्रज्ञात्मा पुरुष है पुराण है साक्षात स्वयं ज्योतिरजय परेश है नारायणो भगवान वासुदेव है स्वयमायात्म्यन्यवधीयमान है यथा नील स्थावर जंगमाना आत्मरूप स्वरूपेण निविष्ट ईशेत एवं परो भगवान वासुदेव है क्षेत्रज्ञ आत्म में दमनु प्रविष्ट है. There are two kinds of kshetrajya: the living entity as explained above, and the supreme personality of Godhead, who is explained as follows. He is all pervading cause of creation. He is full in himself and is not dependent on others. He is perceived by hearing and direct perception. He is self-effulgent and does not experience birth, death, old age, or disease. He is the controller of all the demigods, beginning with Lord Brahma. He is called Narayan, and he is the shelter of living entities after the annihilation of this material world. He is full of all opulences, and he is the resting place of everything material. He is therefore known as Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By his own potency, he is present within the hearts of all living entities, just as the air or vital force is within the bodies of all beings, moving and non-moving. In this way, he controls the body. In his partial feature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead enters all bodies and controls them. Yeah. So like everyone, we have a soul, and then there is a super soul. Yeah, and as we know in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna already says, by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Yeah, this is the position of the plenary expansions of Krishna as the all-pervading Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman, and Anirudh. Tarun?
न यावत् एतं तनुभ्रं नरेन्द्र विद्धूयमाया वयुनोदयेन विमुक्त्या संगो जिता सत् सपत्नो वेदात्मा तत्त्वं भ्रमतिः तावतः. My dear King Rahūgaṇa, as long as the conditioned soul accepts the material body and is not freed from the contamination of material enjoyment, and as long as he does not conquer his 6 enemies and come to a platform of self-realization by awakening his spiritual knowledge, he has to wander among different places and different species of life in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Jad Bharat Maharaj is explaining to the king Rahūgaṇa, right, that as long as we accept the material body and not free from the material enjoyment, right, like doesn't conquer the 6 enemies, Kam, Krodh, Mad, Lobh, Moh, right, and come to the platform of self-realization by awakening the spiritual knowledge, what happens is we are wandering among different places in different bodies in this material world. Yeah. Ajay?
न यावदेत तन्मन आत्मलिंगम संसार तापावपनम जनस्य यक्षो कमोहाय राग लोभ वैरानुबंधम ममताम विद्यते. The soul's designation, the mind, is the cause of all tribulations in the material world. As long as the fact is unknown to the conditioned living entity, he has to accept the miserable condition of the material body and wander within this universe in different positions. Because of the mind is affected by disease, lamentations, illusion, attachment, greed, and enmity, it creates bondage and a false sense of intimacy within the material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anilji?
भ्रातृव्यमेनं तदत्ब्रवीर्य उपेक्षयाद्येधितप्रमतः गुरो हरिश्च रणोपासनान्त्रो जाहिब्यलीकं स्वयमात्ममोक्षम्. This uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the soul. O King, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Do this with great care. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Jad Bharat Maharaj, yeah, he is explaining that how do you conquer the man? Yeah. The only way to conquer the mind is by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Yeah. And so this is how Jad Bharat Maharaj is explaining to King Rahūgaṇa, and he's giving him the transcendental message. So that's what this chapter was about. This ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 5th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Jad Bharat Instructs King Rahūgaṇa. Yeah. Lo Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Yeah. So we'll start the chapter 12, and chapter 12 is continuing the conversation between Maharaj Rahūgaṇa and Jad Bharat. Yeah. So let's continue reading this. Rahūgaṇa Vacha Namo Namaha Karana Vigrahaya Sarupatuchikrita Vigrahaya Namo Avadhuta Dvija Bandhulinga Niguda Nityanubhavaya Tubhyam. Says King Rahūgaṇa said, O most exalted personality, you are not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By the influence of your true self, all kinds of contradiction in the Shastras have been removed. In the dress of a friend of a Brahman, you are hiding your transcendental blissful position. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Yeah, it says there, Namo Namah Karana Vigrahaya. Yeah, so King Rahūgaṇa is offering his obeisances into Jaḍa. It says that from the Brahma Samhita we understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karan Karanam. Rishabdev was the direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. His son Bharat Maharaj, who was now acting as the Brahman Jad Bharat, had received his body from the cause of all causes. Therefore, he is addressed as Karan Vigraha. Yeah. Ajay?
Sure. ज्वरा मयार्तस्य यथा गदम सत् निधा घट दग्धस्य यथा इम्माम्भ कुदेहमानिः विदिष्टे ब्रह्मन् वचस्ते अमृत मौषमधम me. O best of Brahmanas, my body is filled with dirty things and my vision has been bitten by the serpent of pride. Due to my material conceptions, I am diseased. Your nectarian instructions are the proper medicine for one suffering from such a fever, and they are cooling waters for one scorched by the heat. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, yeah. So King Rahūgaṇa is telling this to Jad Bharat, yeah, that your nectarian instructions are helping me. Yeah. Anilji?
Yeah. Tasmavdantam davantam mama sanshayartham prakyami paschadadhuna subodham adhyatma yoga graphitam tavoktamakyahi kautuhala chetaso me. Whatever doubts I have about a particular subject matter, I shall ask you about later. For the time being, these mysterious yoga instructions you have given me for self-realization appear very difficult to understand. Please repeat them in a simple way so that I can understand them. My mind is very inquisitive and I want to understand this clearly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. तो जड़ भरत क्या बोल रहे हैं? So Rahūgaṇa, King Rahūgaṇa जड़ भरत को बता रहे हैं कि whatever he explained, right, as we read in the previous shloks, Jad Bharat explained him how the body is different, right, than soul and how the super soul is. But what King Rahūgaṇa is saying is that he did not understand all these instructions. So he's asking Jad Bharat Maharaj to explain it again and clearly. Yeah. Arun? Arun?
यदा योगेश्वर दृश्यमानं क्रियाफलं सद् व्यावहारा मूलम न हि अंजसा तत्वा विमर्शनया भवन अमुस्मिन् ब्रह्मते मनो में. O master of yogic power, you said that fatigue resulting from moving the body here and there is appreciated by direct perception, but actually there is no fatigue. It simply exists as a matter of formality. By such inquiries and answers, no one can come to the conclusion of the absolute truth. Because of your presentation of this statement, my mind is a little disturbed. Hare Krishna.
ब्राह्मणवाच अयं जनो नाम चलन् पृथ्वीभ्यां यः पार्थिव कस्य हेतु तस्यापि चाङ्गधयोरधिगुल्फस्यन्दा जानुर्मध्योरशिरोधरांसा अंसे अधिदार्भिशिबिका च यंशां सो वीरराजेत्योपदेश आस्ते यस्मिन् भवान् रुडनिजा अभिमान राजाश्मि सिन्धुष्विति दुर्मदानः. The self-realized Brahman Jad Bharat said, among the various material combinations and permutations, there are various forms and earthly transformations. For some reason, these move on the surface of the earth and are called palanquin carriers. Those material transformations which do not move are gross material objects like stones. In any case, the material body is made of earth and stone in the form of feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, torso, throat, and head. Upon the shoulders is the wooden palanquin, and within the palanquin is the so-called king of Soviet. The body of the king is simply another transformation of earth, but within that body, your lordship is situated and falsely thinking that you are the king of the state of Soviet. Yeah. So what Jad Bharat is saying to King Rahūgaṇa that you are essentially made up of this earth, right? This sand, but within you, you have this false ego and you are thinking that you are the king of the state of Soviet. Yeah. Anilji?
Shotyani ma sattva-madhikastadīnān vishtaya nigrahani ranugrahosi dhanasya goptasmi vikattamano nashobhase braddha subhasu drashtaha. It is a fact, however, that these innocent people carrying your palanquin without payment are certainly suffering due to this injustice. Their condition is very lamentable because you have forcibly engaged them in carrying your palanquin. This proves that you are cruel and unkind. Yet, due to false prestige, you are thinking that you are protecting the citizens. This is ludicrous. You are such a fool that you could not have been adored as a great man in an assembly of persons advanced in knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Tarun?
Yadashita veva characharasya vidam nishta prabham cha nityam tanamatodasyata vyavaharamulam nirupyatanta sata kriyayanumeyam. All of us on the surface of the globe are living entities in different forms. Some of us are moving and some not moving. All of us come into existence, remain for some time, and are annihilated when the body is again mingled with the earth. We are all simply different transformations of the earth. Different bodies and capacities are simply transformations of the earth that exist in name only. For everything grows out of the earth, and when everything is annihilated, it again mingles with the earth. In other words, we are but dust, and we shall but be dust. Everyone can consider this point. Hare Krishna.
Ajay?
Sorry. एवं निरुक्तम क्षिति शब्द वृत मसन्निधानात् परमाणवो ये अविद्या मनस कल्पितास्ते येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः. One may say that varieties arise from the planet Earth itself. However, although the universe may temporarily appear to be the truth, it ultimately has no real existence. The Earth was originally created by a combination of atomic particles, but these particles are impermanent. Actually, the atom is not the cause of the universe, although some philosophers think so. It is not a fact that varieties found in the material world simply result from atomic juxtaposition or combination. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, the interesting thing mentioned is although this universe may temporarily appear to be the truth, as we can see, it ultimately has no real existence. Yeah, is what Jad Bharat Maharaj is saying. A nice purpose. So let's read this, Anilji.
Yeah. Those who follow the atomic theory think that the protons and electrons of atoms combine in such a way as to bring all material existence into being. However, the scientists fail to discover the cause of atomic existence itself. Under these circumstances, we cannot accept that the atom is the cause of the universe. Such theories are advanced by unintelligent people. According to real intelligence, the real cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Lord. Janmadi Saya Yataha. He is the original cause of all creations. As is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matha Sarvayan Pravartate. Krishna is the original cause. Sarva Karana Karanam is the cause of all causes. Krishna is the cause of atoms, the material energy. Bhumir Apo Nalo Vayu Kam Mano Buddhir Evach Ahankara Yama Mi Bhinna Prakriti Astadha. The ultimate cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and only those in ignorance try to find out other causes by posing different theories. Hare Krishna.
Ajay?
एवं कृष्णम स्थूल मणु बृहद्यद असत्य सजीव मजीव मन्यत द्रव्य स्वभाव क्षय काल कर्म नामना जयो वेहिम कृतम द्वितीयम. Since the universe has no real ultimate existence, the things within it, shortness, difference, grossness, skinniness, smallness, bigness, result, cause, living symptoms, and materials, are all imagined. They are all pots made of the same substance, earth, but they are named differently. The differences are characterized by the substance, nature, predisposition, time, and activity. You should know that all these are simply mechanical manifestations created by material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it says, let's read this, Tarun.
The actual protectress is the material nature, but Vishnu is her Lord. He is the Lord of everything. Lord Jaḍa is the director both externally and internally. He is the cause of the function of words and what is expressed in all sound. Shirod Sodharata Yadvat Griyas Tadvat Evatu Ashrayatvam Cha Goptratvam Anyesam Upacharataha. Lord Vishnu is the resting place of the entire creation. Brahmano hi pratitastatham. On Brahman, everything is resting. All the universes are resting on the Brahma Jyoti, and all the planets are resting on the universal atmosphere. In each and every planet, there are oceans, hills, states, and kingdoms. And each planet is giving shelter to so many living entities. They're all standing on the earth of feet and legs, torso and shoulders, but actually everything is resting ultimately on the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is known ultimately as Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Sarva Karan Karanam is how Lord Krishna is known. Right? Jnanam Vishuddham Paramarthameka Manantaram Tvabhir Brahma Satyam Pratyak Prashantam Bhagavad Shabda Shangyam Yata Vasudevam Kavayo Vadanti. What then is the ultimate truth? The answer is that non-dual knowledge is the ultimate truth. It is devoid of the contamination of material qualities. It gives us liberation. It is the one without a second, all-pervading and beyond imagination. The first realization of that knowledge is Brahma. Then Paramatma, the Supersoul, is realized by the yogis who try to see him without grievance. This is the second stage of realization. Finally, full realization of the same supreme knowledge is realized in the Supreme Person. All learned scholars describe the Supreme Person as Vasudev, the cause of Brahma, Paramatma, and others. Yeah. So how the whole thing is described as first stage is self-realization, right? The knowledge of Brahma, the knowledge of the soul. And then the super soul, the Paramatma. And then in the complete devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, yeah, one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Person, Vasudeva, yeah, Lord Krishna, is what is being mentioned here. Anilji?
Rahūgaṇa tattapasānayāti na chejaya nirvapanadagrādha na chandasa naiva jalagni suryai ravinan mahatpadarjo vishekam. My dear King Rahūgaṇa, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize that absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of householder life, leaving home as a vanprastha, accepting sannyasa, or undergoing severe penance in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So in this world, the mercy of a great devotee, yeah, the great saints, and there are great saints, is absolutely essential, is what is mentioned here. Yeah. A couple of more shloks, Ajay.
यत्रोत्तम श्लोक गुणानुवादः प्रस्तुयते ग्राम्य कथाविधातः निषेव्यमाणो अनुदिनं मुमुक्षु मर्ति सति यक्षति वासुदेवे. Who are the pure devotees mentioned here? In an assembly of pure devotees, there is no question of discussing material subjects like politics and sociology. In an assembly of pure devotees, there is a discussion only of the only of the qualities, forms, and pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is praised and worshipped with full attention. In the association of pure devotees, by constantly hearing such topics respectfully, even a person who wants to merge into the existence of absolute truth abandons this idea and gradually becomes attached to the service of Vasudeva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And once somebody is in the service of Vasudeva, that is the highest perfection of life. Yeah. And let's do one more shlok, Kataru.
Aham pura bharato nam raja vimuktya dushta shutu sambandha aradhana bhagavad yamano mrgobhavam mrg sanghyandatartha. In a previous birth, I was known as Maharaj Bharata. I attained perfection by becoming completely detached from material activities through direct experience. And through indirect experience, I received understanding from the Vedas. I was fully engaged in the service of the Lord, but due to my misfortune, I became very affectionate to a small deer, so much so that I neglected my spiritual duties. Due to my deep affection for the deer, in my next life, I had to accept the body of a deer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Jad Bharat Maharaj is finally telling King Rahūgaṇa that he was actually Maharaj Bharat in his previous life. Yeah, and even though he was engaged in the service of the Lord, yeah, he gets attached to the deer and then he gets a body of a deer. So, and then now he's, of course, has a body of a Brahman where he's being like a Jad Bharat. So we'll continue reading this conversation. We'll pause here. Yeah, slightly over time. And then let's hear the nice bhajan. Yeah, and then we'll Right. So nice kirtan, right? Skripalaji Maharaj. And Ajay, I don't know if you noticed, Mukundananji Maharaj right in the front. So most of the Kripaloji Maharaj's video, right, you will see Mukundananji Maharaj right there. So Mukundananji Maharaj was in Raleigh last week, I think.
Yeah.
So he was in Raleigh giving pravachan. All right, so Hare Krishna, I think we have a long weekend now, right? So we'll see you back on Monday, 10 p.m. Yeah.
Okay. All
Hare
right.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.